kind words of appreciation. It's always a great pleasure spending time with you indeed. And I can't forget the time we spent together in Singapore at the Masters of the Century event. Backstage, we even, I think, recorded a podcast, an
Yeah,
audio
you have a
podcast. I
very good
remember.
memory. Yeah, we did a podcast.
We did. But it's a great privilege, pleasure, and honor to be here with all of you this afternoon at the Super Growth Summit organized by Success Gyan. And I want to express my deep and sincere gratitude to Suren for giving me the opportunity to be here this afternoon. And my sincerest gratitude to the 5.2K people who've been here. It's incredible to see all of you here attending this Super Growth Summit. And I'm sure all of you had a great time learning with the different trainers, the coaches, the speakers who shared a lot of their wisdom, their experience, their know how, their knowledge with all of you. Last year, about a year and a half now, has been an extremely turbulent year for all of us. All of us know what the corona pandemic, the COVID pandemic has done to us. So many issues, so many problems, professionally, personally, financially, mental health wise, so many issues, challenges, and problems. It's been a tough roller coaster ride year indeed. Like one of my friends was telling me, he said, in the last 1.5 years, my hands have consumed more alcohol through sanitizers than my liver did in my entire lifetime. So much sanitizer has been used. First time in the history of the world, we are being told, stay away from positive people. Have you ever heard that? Stay away from positive people? We've always told stay away from negative people. For the very first time in the history of the world, we are being told stay away from positive people. Otherwise, you turn out to be positive, and then to get negative can be really hard. Mental health issues are at an all-time high. Like a psychiatrist put a board outside his clinic, and he said on the board, he wrote, if you're talking to your walls during the lockdown, he wrote, you're talking to the walls, it's absolutely normal. But if the wall starts talking back to you, then come to us. Now, all jokes apart, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is this, that the pandemic has done what it has done to us. A lot of people are finding it extremely difficult to even survive and stay afloat, what to speak of thrive and grow. And therefore, it's absolutely incredible that such a summit called the Super Growth Summit has been organized for us to learn how to shift from the survive mode to the thrive mode. And please do understand this one very important principle, that more than any other time in the history of the world, what we need to thrive is not just some strategy any longer. Strategies are great, but what we need at such a difficult time is a high morale, a boosted mindset. Because if we do not have a boosted mindset, the strategy does good. More than any time else in the history of the world, we need to stick to the right values that help us grow. We need to stick to the right values to help us grow any time in the world, but definitely at this point in time, any quick fix remedy, any quick fix tips will not work if we don't have the right kind of values to empower those techniques. Techniques are excellent, tips are excellent, systems are excellent. But if we do not have the fuel behind them, like a vehicle can take you from point A to point B. But in order for the vehicle to take you from point A to point B, you need the fuel. All techniques, tips, systems, methodologies, modalities are like a vehicle. They can help you reach your destination of growth in your business, in your work, on yourself, whatever kind of growth you want. But it must be fueled by the right kind of fuel, which is the right kind of values. And which is precisely why I'm going to share with you this afternoon 3 very important values which are needed to move from the survive mode to the thrive mode. We don't just want to stay afloat. We don't just want to survive. We don't want to reach a plateau in our growth. We don't want to just kind of, be there and be satisfied and content with what's happening at the moment. We all want to grow. We all want to get to the next level of our growth. So here are the three principles, the three values that are absolutely essential behind all the techniques, tips, methods, systems that we learn. This is the fuel that will help you use those techniques, those tips, those methods, those systems well, and help you fulfill your dream, your hopes, your aspirations, your ambitions by taking you to where you see yourself to be. So here's the first principle. Are you all with me, guys? I can't see you now, but are you all with me? Oh, yes, I can see. Yes, 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 yes. Brilliant, brilliant. I love that. Yes, I love that. Yes. Here's my first principle or the first value. A teacher once came to a classroom and gave all the kids in the class, 7-year-olds, an assignment. She asked them all to do a particular task. Now, you know how kids can be, right? Like real funny guys sometimes. Like a teacher came to a class, 6-year-olds, and asked the kid, a boy, said, which state of India are you from? The boy said, well, I'm from Himachal Pradesh. The teacher said, can you spell it for me? He said, I'm from Goa, actually. who, who spells out Himachal Pradesh, Just spell Goa, Goa. So this teacher came to the 7-year-olds and gave them all an assignment. She said, number one, I want all of you to write a sentence in the English language. Kids said, big deal. What's the big deal? We can very well and easily do it. The teacher said, but there's a second condition, not just a sentence. It's a sentence which should have 10 words. Big deal. The kids thought, we can definitely write a sentence with 10 words in it. The teacher said, condition number 3. Each word out of these 10 words should only be a 2-lettered word. It, be, if, of, me, to, he. Wow. Now that's a little harder. A sentence with 10 words, each word to be only 2 letters. And the teacher said, condition number 4 is that sentence should be a meaningful one. It can't be like, if, to, me, he, be. It has to be a meaningful one. The kids scratched their heads hard, tried to figure out what that sentence could be. And then they just couldn't. They turned to the teacher for help. And the teacher wrote on the board the sentence with 10 words, each word only having 2 letters, but an extremely meaningful, powerful sentence. Here are the first 5 words in the sentence. If it is to be. If it is to be. As the kids looked at that, makes sense. If it is to be. And right underneath, she wrote the next 5 words. It is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, people who are in the survival mode, they only keep cribbing. They only keep complaining. They only make excuses. And they play the blame game. Who is responsible for the lack of their growth? The government is responsible for the lack of their growth. The corona pandemic is responsible for the lack of their growth. Lack of opportunities are responsible for the lack of my growth. My parents are responsible for the lack of my growth because they didn't give me the opportunity to study what I wanted to. My colleagues, partners, everybody else in the world outside, every situation, every individual, every circumstance is responsible for the lack of my growth. But if it is to be, it's not up to the government. If it is to be, it is not up to the pandemic. If it is to be, it's not up to my partners. If it is to be, It's not up to my colleagues. If it is to be, it's not dependent on any damn person in the world. If it is to be, it is up to me. Guys, those who are in the survival mode are cribbers. Those who are in the survival mode are complainers. Those who are in the survival mode are those who play the blame game. Those who are in the survival mode are the ones who make excuses. But those who are in the thrive mode, they don't make excuses. They make things happen with where they are, with what they have. We're not looking for those best opportunities where we'll one day have all the resources, we'll one day have all the opportunities, we'll one day have all the people who are with us, we'll one day have an excellent team. They don't wait, they don't complain, they don't make excuses, they make things happen. They begin with what they have and where they are and move on towards their destination in a successful way. And which is why I always say, you know, if you just read about 20 pages a day, guys, you'll probably end up reading about 30 books a year. Now, is that all too much? No. Who's meant to be getting all the know-how? How are you going to get your knowledge updated? How are you going to get all the experience that people have shared in their books or all the content that's online? 20 pages a day. Probably about 30 minutes, 35 minutes a day. About 30 books a year. You save just about 100 rupees a day. 100 rupees a day. You end up saving 36,500 rupees a year. If you just run for a kilometer a day, you end up running 365 kilometers a year. You start just 1% change every single day working on your own self. Guys, you know something? You're ending up making about a 37% change in your life. So stop making excuses. Stop cribbing. Stop complaining. Look at what you have currently. Look at what you have. Look at where you are and start making those micro changes. It is such people who have the guts to take responsibility for their own lives. They are the ones who grow. That techniques help. That's when methods help. That's when systems help. When you are willing to take the complete responsibility for your own transformation, for your own growth, for your own change. And therefore, in Japan, there's a famous statement. They say, if everybody can do it, I can do it as well. If nobody can do it, I must do it. India, sorry, it's a little different. In India, most of us would say, if everybody can do it, why should I do it? Let them do it. And if nobody can do it, how can I do it? If nobody can do it, I must do it. That's where growth lies. If nobody can do it, I must do it. It's tremendous potential for me to grow. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the first principle, the first value that's the fuel for all the systems you learn is taking responsibility for your growth, not blaming anybody or anything around you because that does no good for your growth. By making those micro changes, those little changes, 1% changes to reach 37% change every year. Because if it is to be, guys, if it is to be, it is up to me. What I want all of you to do is just jot down for yourself. You don't have to type in the comment box. As you leave the Super Growth Summit, just jot down for your own self. What is that particular area of your life that you feel needs growth, financial growth, professional growth, intellectual growth, personal growth, spiritual growth, emotional growth. What is it that you want to grow in? Right? And what are those micro changes that you want to make? Jot down three aspects of your life currently that need attention in terms of growth. Just three. And jot down what is it that you're going to change, even if it be tiny, that 1%. And how would you want to see yourself in the year 2021? On the 10th of July, 2021, where do you want yourself to be in these three areas of your life? And what change will you incorporate right now to reach there? If you want to move from A to Z, you may not reach A, Z. But even if you make that micro change, a little step towards Z, A to B is a step towards Z. So value number one, take responsibility. If it is to be, it is up to me. No blame games, no blaming anybody, no passing the buck on others, no complaining, no cribbing, no excuses, making things happen by taking full responsibility. Now here's my second principle or the second value that acts as powerful fuel to the vehicle of techniques, methods, systems, and tips, which are excellent, but they're just a vehicle. Every methodology is simply a vehicle. And if you don't have the fuel, the best car is not going to move. You may have the best techniques, which is probably like a BMW or a Limo or a Merc or a Rolls Royce. It's the best techniques. If there's no fuel in there, you're not going to be able to drive to your destination. Now, here's my second principle or my second point for this afternoon. Language is incredible. Like we all study language. When we were in kindergarten, we studied A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog. And language keeps changing, guys, isn't it? I incidentally received a very interesting forward, which was from Kapil Sharma show also. And there was Johnny Lever on that show. It was hilarious. And Johnny Lever was saying how the kids in the corona pandemic have learned their alphabet. So he said A for asymptomatic, right? B for blood report, C for corona, D for distancing, E for essentials, F for fake report, fake RT-PCR report, G for go corona, go, H for hand wash, I for immunity, J for jobless, K for kada, L for lockdown, M for mask, N for negative report, O for oxygen, P for pandemic, Q for quarantine, right? R for remdesivir, S for sanitizer, T for total number of corona cases, U for unlock, V for vaccination, W for work from home, Y for yellow zone, and Z for Zoom call. We are all on a Zoom call doing this event, the Super Growth Summit. Oh, I must tell you. And sorry, I missed out X, right? X for Xi Jinping. X for Xi Jinping. That's what he said, Johnny Lever. Oh, good Lord. How language changes is quite interesting. The same alphabet today has changed. But we all know that when we learn the alphabet, as we grow, the meaning of the alphabet changes for us. We just study A for apple, B for ball, or today A for asymptomatic and B for blood report and C for corona. Right? But as we grow, the same alphabet changes. We study algebra, A square B plus B square C plus C square D is equal to what? We study trigonometry, triangle ABC or segment AB and segment BD, the same letters. Same letters are used for a poem. Same letters are used for writing an article. Same letters are used to write a book. Same letters we studied science. Same letters we studied history. Same letters we studied biology. The same letters. But how language changes the meaning of it is quite interesting and phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to really grow in your life, What's very important, the second value is change your language, change your jargon. Right? When I say change your language and jargon, I obviously don't mean the literal language and jargon. When I say change your language and change your jargon, change what you're telling yourself here. What people are telling you doesn't matter as much as what you're telling yourself. The world can talk to you and it's all bloody noise. Right? What is very important for all of us is to listen to our inner voice. And if you don't change your voice inside, all the guidance outside is simply a royal noise. Right? Every guidance, every workshop, every seminar is simply a royal noise if you do not learn how to change your voice inside. If you're able to change your voice inside, everything you learn is an asset. If you don't change your voice inside, everything you learn is simply useless liability. You spent your time, you spent your money, you spent your precious energy. Right? Therefore, what you tell yourself inside is more important than what the world tells you guys. You have to change your dialogue, change your self talk. And if you don't change it here, trust me, nothing is changing. And what is it that I want you to change specifically? Replace this one word inside. Just change one word. That one word change will make a 180-degree difference in the way you grow. And what's that one word you need to change? Change the word spend to the word invest. When you're talking of spending, you're losing, you're giving away. I spent on a holiday. मैंने पैसा खर्चा कर दिया. Spent on a holiday, right? I spent on buying a phone. I spent on buying a set of clothes. I spent on a seminar. I spent on my girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse because it was my anniversary, or birthday. Change that word spend to invest. Because when you say spend, you don't give that attention to what you spend for. Because the word spend has the connotation of not receiving back. It's gone. Whereas when you talk about the word invest, every investment gets a premium return. If you invest your money in the stock market, don't say I spent my money. Say I invested my money, which we do. You spent your time today for the Super Growth Summit. If you say you spent your time, you're not getting anything out of it. If you say I invested my time in learning from the experts, from the masters who have their wisdom, their experience, their realization in this field, I'm going to gain something from it. If you spend time with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, friend, don't say I spent time. Say I invested my time in a relationship. If you spend time meditating, praying, chanting on your spirituality, don't say I spent my time. I invested my time in developing myself, my inner self, my soul, nourishing my inner self. So change your language. Move from spend to invest. If you're thinking of spending, you're not giving it that seriousness, that attention. If you say I'm investing, you will give it that attention and seriousness because investments are meant to give back premium returns to you. So please remember the second value, the second principle that I'm teaching you today, or sharing with you today. The first one, take responsibility for your growth. Nobody is responsible for your growth than you. The second one, change your jargon, change your self-talk, change your language, change what you tell yourself. Move from saying I spent to I invested. Because when you say I invested, you're going to give it serious attention. And believe me, you, if you do not invest time, energy, resources, attention, focus in developing yourself, in honing, refining, enhancing your craft, growth is simply a dream. No strategy, no tip, nothing is going to work to take you to that level, that aspiration that you're dreaming for, because your product is super lousy. Your craft is super lousy. Every marketing technique, everything falls apart because people can tell value and substance for just some sheer shallowness, some lousy product, right? And therefore, invest. You have limited energy, limited time, limited resources, limited mental space. Make sure that you use that very, very conscientiously to invest in the right way. I always love to tell the story of Pablo Picasso, who was walking on the streets one day. And as he was walking on the streets, a lady came up to him and said, "Hey, Pablo, can you make a pencil sketch for my?" Pablo Picasso made a pencil sketch of that lady like in a jiffy. Quick, 30 seconds. 30 seconds he made that sketch and handed it over to the lady and said, $30,000, madam. Pablo, pagal ho gaya tu? $30,000 for what, man? You made it in less than 30 seconds. You're charging $30,000? Pablo said, look, madam, the $30,000 are not for making this pencil sketch in 30 seconds. The $30,000 are for the 30 years of investment in order to be able to make it in less than 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, when 30 years go, are you doing it day in, day out? Is every nerve, every cell, every vein, every part of your system breathing what you want to grow in? If you don't breathe it, if you don't feel it, if you don't vibrate it, if you don't live it, forget super growth. Forget super growth. People pay you for excellence. Otherwise, you're going to be mediocre. Once you reach that excellence, once you invest your mental time, mental energy, your focus, your time, your resources, your everything into that one thing, that is when you reach such a high level of excellence. There's no negotiation. You charge, you say, this is my charge. If you don't want it, you don't want it. It's fine. No problem. I don't care a damn, That's when you can say, hey, wait, there's no negotiation here, okay? That's when you can say $30,000, madam, not for the 30 seconds, but for the 30 years of investing my mental focus, practice, hard work, failures, hustling, giving it your 200% to then be able to make it in 30 seconds and then non-negotiable $30,000, right? So you're talking about money, right? Here, you're talking about growth, right? You do not invest in your craft. And if you do not grow your craft, no technique, no marketing is going to get you there because you will remain mediocre. People can tell an excellent product for a lousy or a mediocre product, whatever your product is. Therefore, that's my second value. Right? The second very important aspect. Change your jargon, change your language by moving from spend to invest. Surena, I have a third thing there. Can I say that or we need to end?
You can go ahead. It's up to you. You can go how long away you want. You're the last one. No problem. Please go ahead.
Okay, because it's 4:32. 30 minutes done.
No problem. It's all yours. Stage is all yours.
Okay. Yeah, 5 minutes more. No problem. Thank you, Surena. Here's my last principle, guys. The last one for this evening. Something that we definitely need to move from the survive mode to the thrive mode. Right? Very, very crucial. And especially in the current not even post-corona, still the corona times. Right? Still the corona times when most people are struggling to stay afloat and swim. Forget about swimming, you're staying afloat. Most are sinking. Right? So here's my last principle. A beautiful story. I always love sharing. There was a man who was walking towards his destination, like about 50 kilometers towards his village, towards his hometown. He was walking. Chal ke ja raha tha. And in his journey, en route to where he was going, he found on the path a flowing river. And he would have to cross that river in order to come to the other bank and thereby then thereafter walk towards his destination, towards his village. And there was an issue. The issue was the river was extremely deep. The current of the water, the river, was very, very strong. There was absolutely no possibility of swimming across. Although he did know swimming, but there was no possibility of swimming across because this strong current and this massive gush of the waters of the river would just sweep him away. Can't swim across, needs to cross the river to march ahead towards his village. The guy sat there, despondent. हमारे भी लाइफ में, हमारी जर्नी में भी ऐसे कई बार दिक्कतें आती है, प्रॉब्लम्स आती है. There's so many difficulties, troubles on the path towards that destination. We were wanting to go super growth summit. We want to grow really, have super growth, but always something there. Always something comes, right? Get frustrated, get depressed, want to give up. The guy scratched his head. Didn't give up. Didn't give up. Started looking around. He found a couple of bamboos lying around. Found a lot of dry grass, leaves, and he found these dried creepers. Dried creepers, like strong creepers. He took this bamboo, he took the grass, he took all of this, and tied it closely with these creepers, dried creepers, into a strong raft. There's no boatman there. And then laid himself on that raft, which was light, to float across in the river. He took two bamboos to row and see if he could reach to the other bank. It was difficult, extremely difficult. The current was very strong. But guess what, guys? He made it. It's not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you. We all get to similar kind of issues. Similar kind of problems are happening to everybody. Greatness is not that problems don't happen. Greatness is about what we do with those challenges that come our way. You know, the guy reached the other bank and thought to himself, hey, I put so much energy and so much effort in making this raft. मैंने बनाया ये raft. Bamboo, creepers, सबको जोड़ के मैंने बनाया ये raft. And it is this raft that has helped me come across this river, has rescued me from this time of utter despair and difficulty. I can't leave this raft behind. He took this raft and put it on his back, right? Tied it up to his back. Like you guys have backpacks. He had this raft like a backpack, but it was a massive raft. It was like a huge raft behind him, which is tied to his back. And he started walking towards his destination. Little did he know that as he was walking towards his village, he would have to pass through a dense forest. And in that dense forest, there was, in between every two trees in the forest, there was only enough space for a person to pass through. There's no question the raft could go through. He tried passing through the two trees, he would go and the raft would get stuck. He passed through other two trees, the raft would get stuck. He just couldn't move on because of the raft that he had tied on his back. The man had only two choices, guys. One was to keep the raft that he had worked on so hard and that had rescued him from that difficult situation by bringing him across the strong, formidable current of the river, or to drop the raft, to let go of the raft and move on. He knew, if I have to move on, cross this jungle and reach my village, I'm going to have to put this raft behind, and if the need be, I'll probably make another raft later, but I'm going to have to put this raft behind me. He took the raft off, let go of it, passed through the forest, and reached his village. Guys, in our life, there are certain things that we work on. They become like rafts for us. Sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's strategies, sometimes it's plans. And they serve their purpose. They serve their purpose. But at a certain point, they stop serving their purpose. Whatever that raft was meant to do, it has done. And now, it has no value in your journey ahead. In fact, it becomes a massive obstacle. The solution that you found out becomes a hurdle. A lot of times in our life, the solution that you yourself devise can become a hurdle in your future growth. And therefore, guys, what I want all of you to do at the end of the summit is to identify what are those things in your life that have outlived their lives, that have served their purpose, but at this current time is acting as a hurdle in your progress. It may have been extremely good for you earlier, but today it no longer does the same thing that it was doing earlier. It could be a relationship, it could be a strategy, it could be a plan, it could be a methodology, it could be a technique. Done what it has done. अभी खुद पीछे छोड़ने का time आया है. So many of the things that we did earlier, we're not being able to do in this new normal after during the pandemic time. We have to learn what is it that's stopping us and be willing to let go. Knowledge means to learn something every single day. His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, if you're constantly speaking, you're only repeating what you know. But if you're listening, you're always learning something new. So knowledge means to learn something new every day. Wisdom means to learn to let go of something that's holding you back every day. And it's not going to happen instantly. It's work in progress. Will there be something that's holding you back? Guys, I want you to identify that thing. At the end of this workshop, at the end of the Super Growth Summit, take this evening, just time this evening, to write an answer to that question. What is it that was helping me up until now? But at this point, the same thing that was helping me, raft, has stopped helping me. And I need to let go of it, but I'm holding on to it. And because I'm holding on to it, I'm not getting the growth that I deserve. People who hold on are in the survive mode remain mediocre. People in the thrive mode identify what is it that we need to let go of. It's not just about learning techniques, that's knowledge. It's about letting go of those things that hold us back, that's wisdom. Knowledge, taking, learning. Wisdom, letting go of those things that are stopping our progress. Last story for this afternoon, and we conclude our session of how to move from the survive mode to the thrive mode. There's a little girl, tiny little girls out there. Can be little girls, little kids, like I always say, can be really, really funny and naughty, isn't it? This little girl went with her grandma to a little shop, general stores, and there she found there was jewelry, artificial fake jewelry being sold. So she found like a necklace made of this fake, cheap plastic pearls, but they looked like pearls, looked nice. She insisted to the grandpa, I want this. She cried, wanted. Girls are girls, little boys, children are children. One little girl once came to a shopkeeper and said to the shopkeeper, Uncle, मैं कैसी लगती हूँ? Shopkeeper said, बहुत प्यारी लगती हो बिटिया. She said, तो uncle, मैं बड़ी हो जाऊंगी तो आप मेरी शादी आपके बेटे से करेंगे? Shopkeeper was amused. जरूर करेंगे बिटिया. तो अंकल आपके होने वाली बहू को एक फ्री कैडबरी चॉकलेट नहीं देंगे? Kids, right? Not a kids. So the little girl insisted. Finally, the grandma went to the shopkeeper, purchased this cheap plastic beads, necklace made of cheap plastic beads, third class, lousy, sloppy, for about 25 rupees. The girl was wearing it, so happy. She was so attached to it. Good heavens. Every single night, she would keep this this necklace made of plastic beads close to, she would wear it in the day, and then she would keep it close to her heart every night. One day her father came to her in the night, gave her a kiss on the forehead, said, darling, you know what? Daddy loves you. Can daddy get back that, can you give daddy that necklace made of those pearls? No, daddy. You can have my teddy bear, daddy. Father kissed her, went back. Every single day he would ask, can you give me this? Can you give me this? And she said, you can have my doll, you can have my bike, you can have my pots. Not the necklace. She was very attached. And one night, when the father came and kissed her on the forehead, he started crying. He said, Dad, I love you. I want to give you this. She pulled out this cheap plastic beads necklace and gave it to the father. Guess what? The father pulled out from his pocket a necklace made of real pearls and handed it over to the daughter. She was holding back something she was attached to, something that had served the purpose of decorating her when she didn't have that real good necklace. But because she was holding back to it, she wasn't receiving the necklace made of real pearls. Guys, please identify what is it that you're holding back that's stopping you from your growth. Life wants to give you a pearl necklace. Life wants to take you to 100x of your growth. Are you ready? And if you want to be ready, the first thing that you need to know is what is it that I'm holding back that's stopping my growth? And if you don't let go of that, nothing is going to work in terms of having you fulfill your dreams and your aspirations. So, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, here are the three values, the fuel that will take your vehicle, the techniques, the methods, the systems, which are brilliant, like a brilliant car, towards your destination of super growth. Number one, if it is to be, it is up to me. No blame game, no excuses, no making excuses, making things happen with those little micro changes. So identify what are the three areas in your life that you want to grow in and decide what is that micro change you want to make today. The second principle, change your language. What you tell yourself is more important than what the world tells you. Change your language from spending to investing. Right? Because that's where the premium growth is. What you to do is identify what is it that you want to invest your time, your mental energy, your resources in. Because unless you hone your craft, 30 years of investment is what pays for 30 seconds of making the sketch. No mediocre, sloppy product sales. People can tell mediocrity from excellence. Hone your craft. Invest your time. What is it that you want to invest in? And thirdly, let go of the draft, which is holding you back from growing. Let go of that plastic bead necklace. So life can offer you a real pearl necklace. So identify what are those things that you're holding to, you're attached to, but you realize that this has served its purpose and does not allow me to grow. It's only these three principles that everything else will be of great value and help. I wish you all the very best for your journey in your process of super growth. And once again, I want to thank Satyam and Suren for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you and share my thoughts. Thank you all for joining and wish you a great evening ahead. Thank you.